This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check you have the tickets in your wallet first before you drive 2 hours to the big game. Seriously, you had one job. Now the closest you'll get to the 50-yard line is parking lot D. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Feel your max with Brooks Running and the all-new Ghost Max 2. They're the shoes you deserve, designed to streamline your stride and help protect your body. Treat yourself to feel-good landings on an ultra-high stack of super comfy nitrogen-infused cushion that takes the edge off every step, every day. The Brooks Ghost Max 2. You know, technically, they're a form of self-care. Brooks, let's run there. Head to brooksrunning.com to learn more.
Hey, it's Austin James. Yes, I'm living with diabetes, but it doesn't have to define me. Thanks to the Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor, I get real-time glucose readings throughout the day. The Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor is small and easy to wear, giving me the freedom to focus on my life as a parent and a musician. Now this is progress. You can get a free sensor at freestylelibre.us.
Offer available for people who qualify. Visit myfreestyle.us to see all terms and conditions. Certain exclusions apply. Data on file. Abbott Diabetes Care. For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
Welcome back to Rams Up, your favorite LA Rams podcast. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network. You can follow us on our YouTube channel as well, at LA Rams Up. I'm your host, Mark. I'll be joined occasionally by my football gurus, Paul and Ian. Let's get to it. Welcome back, everybody. Episode 554 of Rams Up, and I'm going to do things a little bit differently this week. I am going to combine my loop around the league and my who's pumped, who's pissed, who's perplexed segments. Loop around the league, we basically check in on all the teams following a weekend of play, and who's pumped, who's pissed, who's perplexed. We pretend to take the pulse of fan bases across the National Football League. Before we get to that, one bit of Rams news to share. As you probably knew, the Rams are going to run Cooper Kupp through some workouts on Monday, an early assessment on his potential availability Sunday against the Raiders, and according to Ian Rappaport, that workout went pretty well, very positive, a real possibility that he will be back Sunday against the Raiders. Not a done deal yet, though. Hopefully we'll have more concrete information on that when we get to our Wednesday night roundtable with Ian and Paul. What I'm going to do right now is check in on every team, see where they're at, where they are in the standings within their division, what they did last week, what they got coming up next week, and I'm also going to tell you if they have anything to be pumped, pissed, or perplexed about. Any particular sentiment their fan bases should be having at this point. I will save the NFC West for last. Let's start out with the NFC North. The Minnesota Vikings, coming off their bye, they are 5-0. My number 1 ranked team still. Anything the Vikings fan base should be pumped about? Well, they should be certifiably pumped. I mean, 5-0, nobody really saw this coming, especially after they lost their rookie quarterback. Sam Darnold steps in. Maybe that was a blessing in disguise. Not sure if McCarthy was going to be up to it quite yet, but Sam Darnold, tons of experience, very talented, and they're getting it done. Anything for them to be perplexed about or pissed? Well, they got to be a little bit pissed that despite how well they are playing, they have 3 teams nipping at their heels in what is shaping up to be the toughest division in the National Football League. The Lions, Packers, Both very good teams that are going to give them a run. And the Bears coming on too. Caleb Williams starting to play very well. What do they have next week? They host the Lions, and that's going to be a critical game. And let's talk about those Detroit Lions. They plastered the Cowboys 47-9. They improved to 4-1. And should they be pumped? Absolutely. They have played very good football for most of the year. Destroying the Cowboys in Dallas, got to be pumped about that. Are they pissed or perplexed? Well, man, they got to be pissed. Losing perhaps their best defensive player, Aiden Hutchinson, with that horrible injury. And now the timing, not so great. They travel to Minnesota for a showdown without their best defensive player, at least in my opinion. Next up, the Green Bay Packers coming off a 34-13 shellacking of the Cardinals, beneficiaries of another 3 takeaways via fumbles. Should they be pumped? Well, they're 4-2 despite playing 2 games without Jordan Love, and they actually won both those games. Should they be pissed? Not really. Perplexed? Well, they're in last place in the NFC North, so there's that. But they're a good football team. I still think they're getting a little bit more love than they deserve, but good football team, no doubt about it. Next up, they host the Houston Texans. That'll be a good test for them. Now, it's in Green Bay, so that will be edge Packers for sure, but I'll probably end up taking the Texans in that one. And then there's the Bears. They beat the Jags 35-16. Why would they be pumped? Why is this fan base pumped? Well, we see Jaden Daniels getting all this love, a rookie quarterback, apparently outplaying Caleb Williams. And then last year, the way C.J. Stroud played, and I think there were some question marks, some sideways looks at Caleb Williams, the number 1 pick in the draft, but falling a little bit short, at least compared to Stroud and Daniels. But starting to roll right now. He could end up being the best of the 3. Got a ways to go, though, but Bears fans have to be pumped that he's finally showing signs of being worth that number 1 overall pick. And they're not pissed, but they are a little bit perplexed. This fan base is, just because of this tough division they're in. You throw them in either of the Southern divisions, AFC or NFC South, and they're probably, well, the NFC South, they'd probably win it. AFC South, they'd be right there behind the Texans, I think. Let's go over to the NFC East, and we'll start with the first place Washington Commanders. Suffered their second loss of the year last week to the Ravens. And hey, man, this fan base is thoroughly pumped about this quarterback, Jaden Daniels. And, experts picking the Cowboys and the Eagles, including me. I thought both those teams were going to be very good, and they may well end up being assessed as very good football teams. But right now, it's the Commanders that are showing the way, and this fan base is just pumped about that and this quarterback, Jaden Daniels. Nothing to be pissed about, absolutely nothing to be perplexed about. I think Commanders fans are just enjoying this ride, and they'll probably notch another win next week hosting the Carolina Panthers. So the Commanders at 4-2, the second place Philadelphia Eagles 3-2, really struggling on offense. They got by the Browns last week 20-16. And hey, I guess Eagles fans should be pumped that they're still in the mix. They're still in the hunt. That's about it. I think this offense and defense have both been a little disappointing. And I guess that's why they're perplexed. Just not the same Eagle team we saw a couple years ago. And then they tailed off last year really badly. Overall playing better, but they kind of have to feel like they may have missed the window with Jaden Daniels arriving. Now they have to deal with him twice a year. Eagles fans have to be a little perplexed. They visit the New York Giants next week. And what about the Cowboys? The Dallas Cowboys. Wow. 3-3. They lost to the Lions 47-9 at home. Doesn't get much worse than that. So are Cowboys fans pumped about anything? Nothing to be happy about here. I guess they can take some consolation in the fact that they're missing a couple of key defensive players, but man, this offense, and talk about pissed, this fan base has to be pissed about this offense, aside from CeeDee Lamb. Really sad. Not much of a running game. Hey, Dak Prescott's pretty good, but he needs some help. The run game is just really bad. They are on a bye next week. What a painful bye, coming off a loss like that, and you got to wait 2 weeks to play. Not good. Now the NFC South might be the weakest division in the National Football League. The Falcons on top of the division right now, 4-2. I don't feel like they're a really good football team. They've just had a pretty easy schedule, and that will continue. They played the Panthers last week. Panthers made it interesting for a while before the Falcons finally pulled away and won 38-20. So Falcons fans are pumped. They're 4-2 in first place. Last week, the previous week I should say, it was Kirk Cousins. This week it was a running game, 198 yards rushing. So this Falcons offense may be coming together, and they're not pissed. This fan base isn't pissed, but they're probably a little perplexed because is this team good enough to win a couple playoff games? Probably not, but a step in the right direction. It may be another year or two. It may be until Michael Penix is ready to play, really. I'm not sure how long Kirk Cousins is going to hold on to the reins here. They host the Seahawks next week, so for at least 1 week, go Falcons. The Buccaneers hammered the Saints and Spencer Rattler last week, 51-27. Hey, Buccaneers fans just had to be pumped the way Baker Mayfield is playing. Leads the league with 15 TD passes. Are they pissed or perplexed? Not really. I don't think they have anything to be disappointed about. They're in the hunt. They're probably a better team than the Falcons. Had that painful loss, though, to the Falcons. This division may come down to their rematch. Not sure the second place team's going to be good enough for a wild card spot. And then there's the 2-4 New Orleans Saints. Lost that game to the Bucs at home, 51-27. You know, Saints fans were thrilled after 2 weeks. They were 2-0. Then they lost a couple of super painful games. Geez, as bad as it gets. And then they lose their quarterback. So nothing to be happy about down there in New Orleans. They have to be pissed. Just the way they lost those games after starting out 2-0 and then losing their quarterback has to be a really frustrating year for their fan base. They host the Broncos on Thursday night. Looks like Derek Carr will be out once again. And the Carolina Panthers, 1-5, got hammered by the Falcons last week at home. They travel to Washington to play the Commanders. And what are they happy about? Not much. Not much, really. Just playing out the string. See what happens with Bryce Young. That's all I can really say about that. Panther fans have to be equally pissed and perplexed. That draft pick has not worked out well. The trade they made to make that selection, and where do they go from here? In the AFC East, Bills improved to 4-2 with that 23-20 win over the Jets on Monday night. Bills fan base just has to be plain pumped, maybe not as ecstatic as they'd like to be, but 4-2 in total control of that division, and they will keep it rolling next week hosting the Titans. Meanwhile, the Jets dropped to 2-4 with that loss, and that franchise is in disarray, really, isn't it? Robert Saleh fired. The rumors about Aaron Rodgers rolling that because he's trying to protect Nathaniel Hackett. I don't know what's true and what isn't, but man, this is not what this franchise was expecting. They went through last year without Aaron Rodgers, and now they have Aaron Rodgers, and things really haven't changed that much. So I would say the Jets fan base is pretty pissed at this point. And the Jets have another primetime game next week, Sunday night at Pittsburgh. We'll pick things up with the rest of the AFC in a second here, and we'll wrap it up with the NFC West.
With Uber Reserve, good things come to those who plan ahead. Family vacay? Reserve your ride as soon as you book your flights. To all the planners, now you can reserve your Uber ride up to 90 days in advance. See Uber app for details.
Get softer, smoother, and more even-toned skin after just one use with the new Gentle Exfoliating line from Cetaphil. Formulated with a unique triple acid blend that promotes surface skin cell renewal, these gentle chemical exfoliators remove dead skin cells and refine skin's texture while hydrating, resulting in softer, smoother, more even-looking skin. Shop the new Cetaphil Gentle Exfoliating line in the face and body aisles at your local Target store or online at Cetaphil.com.
So, you want to be a marketer. It's easy. You just have to score a ton of leads and figure out a way to turn them all into customers. Plus, manage a dozen channels, write a million blogs, and launch 100 campaigns all at once. When that's done, simply make your socials go viral and bring in record profits. No sweat. Okay, fine. It's a lot of sweat. But with HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools, launching benchmark-breaking campaigns is easier than ever. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
Whether you're making a delicious family meal or a post-workout snack, choose the farm-fresh taste of Eggland's best eggs. Only Eggland's best hens are fed their proprietary all-vegetarian feed. That's what makes their eggs more nutritious. With 10 times more vitamin E, 25% less saturated fat, and 6 times more vitamin D compared to ordinary eggs. Eggland's best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs. Visit egglandsbest.com to learn more.
The Miami Dolphins, 2-3, coming off their bye. What do they have to be pumped about? Well, man, not a whole lot. Unless Tua comes back, I suppose that may elevate them, get them excited again. But they have to be really perplexed about the future of this franchise at the quarterback position especially, right? All the talent they have on offense, but without a competent quarterback, not going to work very well. They play the Colts next week. The Patriots lost to the Texans 41-21 to drop to 1-5, playing competitive football. But hey, if they have something to be pumped about, it's Drake May showing some signs there. He could be the answer. We'll have to see. Full disclosure, I haven't really watched him play, just hearing some sound bites and some stats. Seems like he has some potential to be a good NFL quarterback. And if they're pissed or perplexed about anything, I guess they got to be a little perplexed. I mean, if you're a Rams fan, like most of us are, you have some good times and then you have some bad times. The Rams legacy is really like a sine wave, really good 5 or 10 years and then horrible for 5 or 6. And that's just kind of how it's gone for this franchise. The Patriots, on the other hand, they're just used to winning forever. So they have to be a little bit perplexed, just adjusting to the new world, the new situation this franchise is facing. Hey, they could be good in a year or two. Maybe they need to talk to some Ram fans to learn how to deal with it until they do bounce back completely. So they travel to Jacksonville next week, an opportunity to get their second win. Now the AFC North, the Baltimore Ravens started out 0-2, and now they are 4-2 after handling the Commanders, and Jaden Daniels got a 30-23 win there. And what are they pumped about? The fan base there, 4 straight wins after starting out 0-2. And what are they pissed or perplexed about? Really nothing. Got to be really excited about this team, the coaching, the offense. They maybe are a little bit perplexed about the defense. It has dropped off since last year. So let me throw that in there. They are probably a little perplexed about their defense, but this team is the class of the division, and I don't see a scenario where they don't win it. They take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Monday Night Football. That could be a good one. Baker Mayfield's always fun to watch. Then you got the Pittsburgh Steelers 4-2 coming off that win in Las Vegas over the Raiders. I think Steelers fans should be very pumped given that this team is playing above its head. I think it's due to the culture there and the coaching, I think. Justin Fields has been okay. Russell Wilson waiting in the wings there. But they just play fundamentally sound football and win games the old-fashioned way. And Steeler fans get it, and they're pumped to see their team continuing to do that. Are they pissed or perplexed about anything? No, they got to be pretty happy, I think. This team is just rolling along about how most people expect it. I didn't expect them to get to 4-2, and I didn't expect them to be a playoff team, and we'll see how that plays out. The Cincinnati Bengals 2-4. They got by the Giants last week. Bengals fans, no, they're not pumped. I mean, I guess they're happy that they're still relevant after starting out at 0-3. Now they're at 2-4, so they have a shot. They just have to play better, kind of like the Rams. But they have to be pissed about another slow start that's kind of dug a hole for this team. They travel to Cleveland next week. I would think they can get a win there, but that Browns defense still plays pretty well. And speaking of those Browns, 1-5, made a game of it last week against the Eagles, lost 20-16. Are they pumped about anything? No, they are not. Are they pissed? Yes, they're pissed. There's just nothing to get excited about as far as this team's offense. Just nothing. Deshaun Watson, just an anchor, dragging this team down with his contract. Once in a while plays well, but for the most part, just an average to middling quarterback with a giant contract. So they're pissed about that. The Cleveland Browns fan base is, because they got a good defense. Just need a okay offense to be competitive, to be relevant, and that's not going to happen this year. They host the Bengals next week. In the AFC South, we have the Houston Texans 5-1. Had a slow start last week, eventually pulled away from the Patriots. They are pumped about C.J. Stroud, 3 more TDs, and they rushed for 192 yards. That was despite 2 carries for -1 yards by Cam Akers. Had to throw that in there. Hey, I'm actually pulling for him, but I was surprised by that stat. Are they pissed or perplexed about anything? Absolutely not. I think they're going to own this division. Colts could make a little bit of noise, but Texans are going to win this. They travel to Green Bay in what might be the game of the week, Texans at Packers. The Indianapolis Colts 3-3 beat the Titans 20-17 with Joe Flacco playing quarterback again. Thought Jonathan Taylor was going to be back. He was not, so still without Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor, and I think they need both of those guys. Although Joe Flacco is okay, we just need to see some progression from Anthony Richardson. So Colts fans are pumped because this team is in second place, showing signs of life, but they have to be a little bit perplexed about the development and health of Anthony Richardson. The Titans 1-4, Will Levis holding on to the starting job there. Titans fans are not pumped. They are not pissed. They're just perplexed. Where does this franchise go? And still probably trying to figure out why Mike Vrabel got fired. And then the Jags 1-5. I think they're actually a pretty good 1-5 team. The competition just plays a little bit better than them every week, it seems. Caught the Bears at the wrong time, lost to them 35-16 in Chicago. Trevor Lawrence, a big game last week. A ho-hum game this week, 234 yards and 2 TDs. Jags, another team that, sad to say, are not going anywhere. Just no juice on this team, really. That's how I would put it. AFC West, the Chiefs 5-0, coming off a bye. Traveling to Northern California to take on the 49ers. Well, if the Texans-Packers is not the game of the week, I guess this one would be. Chiefs are pumped because they're 5-0. But they have to be a little bit perplexed because it's kind of been a strange 5-0 in my opinion. And hey, they're the Chiefs. They got the best coach in the league and the best quarterback. They're going to be okay. The Chargers 3-2 coming off a fairly easy win over the Broncos, and now they travel to Arizona. Good chance to improve to 4-2. That'll be a really fun game too. Are Chargers fans pumped? Yeah, this team is figuring it out. A different culture there with Harbaugh calling the shots and winning old school. Kind of reminded me of the Steelers. Winning the Steelers style of football, I think, is where they're headed. And it's working so far. They need to beat the Cardinals, though. So Chargers fans are pumped, about where they should be. Nothing really to be pissed or perplexed about. The Broncos at 3-3, I guess they're pumped because they've been competitive, and I didn't expect that from this team. And Bo Nix is showing signs of being possibly a pretty good NFL quarterback. Certainly is a good interview. So I don't know. I think the Broncos are one team that I think even their fan base is trying to figure out, what do we have here? I'm not so sure. Hey, maybe chime in on the comments here on the YouTube channel and tell me what I'm missing about the Broncos. 3-3, are they going anywhere? Probably not. It may be another year or two. And then there's the Raiders, 2-4, coming off a bad loss to the Steelers at home. You know what? I wasn't excited about this team with Davante Adams, and now no Davante Adams, still on the trading block apparently. But Seems like they're having trouble working out a deal with anyone there. Now they're going to Aiden O'Connell, benching Gardner Minshew. I don't know if that's an improvement, although I wish the Rams had drafted O'Connell instead of Stetson Bennett, to be quite frank. Raiders fans, like I've said before, Raider fans are always pumped coming out of the gate. They're 0-17. They're pumped. But in this case, they're probably still pumped, but it is not warranted. And hey, if they're pumped, they can't be pissed or perplexed. But a smart Raider fan will tell you they got to be pretty pissed. They kept the coach based on his interim performance last year. Probably not a good idea. And now they really never addressed the quarterback situation. Devontae Adams going out the door. Man, a little bit of a mess there in Las Vegas. Really have no idea what that franchise is doing. So I saved the NFC West for last and our Los Angeles Rams for the very last. The 49ers beat the Seahawks on Thursday night, 35-24, improved to 3-3. Now, I don't think the 49er fan base is pumped. I just don't see it. They got to be okay with where they're sitting, but at the same time, they have to be extremely disappointed. The health of CMC, although it looks like he's going to be coming back, and then Jordan Mason gets dinged up. So we'll have to see. I think they're probably a little perplexed is what I would say. I can guarantee you they're hoping for much more than this, a 3-3 start. They host the Chiefs, big interconference game. 49ers are still probably going to win this division. But maybe, just maybe, the Rams will have something to say about it. Then there's the Seattle Seahawks, lost that game to the 49ers to drop to 3-3 after starting out 3-3. I don't think the Seahawks fan base is very pumped either. Probably more perplexed than anything. Not sure what to make of this team. I would put it this way. The Seahawks are a good team, but they're not a team that you're shaking in your boots to play, whether it's regular season or playoff time. I'm not sure the Seahawks have what it takes to get to the playoffs. Those two games with the Rams may have a lot to do with it, actually. And that may be the Rams' path to the playoffs, if they have one, to sweep the Seahawks. So the Seahawks fan base probably more perplexed than anything, and they traveled to Atlanta trying to break a 3-game losing streak. Raheem Morris, do us a solid here, take down the Seahawks. And then there's the Cardinals dropping to 2-4, losing to Green Bay 34-13, fumbling the ball away 3 times. Really sloppy performance by the Cardinals. There's times when you watch this team, like when they played the Rams, they look really dynamic, look like they have it going on. Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison, James Conner, Budda Baker, they can play really good football, but man, something is still missing here. Thought they were going to be relevant this year, and I'm starting to think maybe not. And Marvin Harrison with that head injury last week, hopefully he's back soon. Maybe he'll be back next week, but when you collapse on the field like that, hey, let's play it safe with guys like Marvin Harrison. He has a long career ahead of him. No reason to hurry him back, especially for a team that's probably not going to get there this year. He's a long-term solution for this franchise. I don't think it's going to matter much this year. Hold the guy back for a week or two. They host the Chargers, and I'm leaning on the Chargers in this one at this point. And then there's our Los Angeles Rams, coming off their bye, 1-4. Got back-to-back home games here with the Raiders on Sunday and then Thursday night with the Vikings. And hey, I think I can speak for the entire Ram fan base. We are perplexed and pissed at the same time. Pissed that we've let a couple wins slip away from us, and a lot of that's due to, game management, coaching strategy, tactics, that type of thing. This team really should be 2-3, if not 3-2. Perplexed by some of the decisions the coaching staff has made here, player personnel and game strategies, and just flat out pissed because we really had high hopes for this team. But I can say that there's a little piece of me that's still a little pumped that we took down the 49ers, pumped that we've had a couple really good draft classes, guys that are going to be contributing here in significant ways. and there is still a path to the playoffs. So I'm still a little bit pumped, eager to get this rolling with a win against the Raiders, but most of the fan base is probably more pissed than anything else, to be quite honest. That's going to do it for this episode. Remember, you can reach us at ramsuppodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget about our YouTube channel. Our handle is at laramsup.com. Till next time, keep the horns up, stay safe, and have fun out there.